It is now day 82, ladies and gentlemen, of our 1000 Dawns. So, with 18 days to go until our first critical milestone, quite a lot of other things have happened over the last couple of days. And to be honest, these 3 days off from work that I've had so far, over the last 3 days, they've been interesting in how quite a lot of them are very, very similar. I would get up after a very long day, um, go to the gym almost first thing, come home, have a spot of lunch, and then ready to start filming at just after 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Now that's it's getting into that routine where everything is just sort of this is where it is and this is what I'm doing and this is sort of what I feel like we need to do. But unfortunately, if we're going to make this a success, then I need to know in some way that this is actually going to start paying off, because we're not going to start getting anywhere unless we start seeing results. And it's a way that I've been over this over the last couple of days, weeks, is that I consider victory by via results. And if we're not going to have any results at all, then forget it. It's simply not going to work. And I've been involved in situations, don't get me wrong, where where it just simply doesn't work, no matter how much I continue to go at it. I know that it's possible to do it. The problem is that either the formula isn't right, the audience isn't right. I've targeted things that are so much of a niche that people can't find it. And I wonder if that's genuinely what the issues are, whether or not people just can't find me or people know where I am. Which is, it's visibility, I think, especially in this sort of line of work, counts for a lot. Because if you're not seen, you're dead. And if you are dead, then nobody is ever going to see you ever again. So therefore, we have to sort of come out of being indoors and get out there into the outside world so that everyone can see us. So far, so good. However, there are other issues aside from all this, because this is now my second day of training for my cycling marathon charity event in 2 months. And so far, things are going well, steady, but well. The problem is that how do we go out of training to doing the real thing? That's going to be a huge undertaking. But I do genuinely believe in the back of my mind we can pull this off and we can make it work. I just want to do it in such a way that I don't, keel over and, do myself some damage before we even get to that stage. I wasn't even going to mention it, but yesterday when I was going to start training, I literally went to put my leg over, the saddle and all that in the gym, and I heard something went pop in my knee. Great start. You injure yourself before you even get on the bike. Yeah, not great. But to be honest, even after 2 days of training, my legs do feel rather stiff. But I can also feel where muscle is starting to build up, because I do other exercise and training aside from using the old bike machine and stuff like that. Because here's the thing: if I'm going to the gym, I may as well get my money's worth out of it. You know what I mean? 78 quid just to join, and then 42 quid a month. You better believe I'm going to start using it. And actually, to be honest, with the hours that I work at and at what times of the day they're at as well, it's actually really this line of work, even though a lot of it is night shift, it's actually far more social than you might think. So maybe this is just a routine that suits me quite a lot better than I thought it was going to be. So some may argue that it's not going to feel like that way all the time. However, I do also maintain that making the mental adjustments to get used to something and then to be able to work around certain obstacles is just a psychological practice that, to be honest, people have to get used to if they're going to make it. Because when anything ever does pose an obstacle in front of us, then it's only logical that we find a solution around it. We find a way to work through our problems, and guess what? We learn every step of the way. Because it's either that or we simply won't succeed. And strange to say, ladies and gentlemen, is that, well, I know deep down inside this is the only real way to do it. Thankfully, however, through every single defeat we've had, and believe you me, we've done our first stubbed our toes so far, even since we managed to get this whole program started off again. Guess what? There's a lot to be done. So, there we go. There is work to be done. Always more work.